Good morning, students. Welcome to the class again. We are discussing rearrangement reactions. Now we will see Arndt-Eister reaction. What is Arndt-Eister reaction? It is similar to Wolff rearrangement. One carbon homologation of carboxylic acids is called Arndt-Eister reaction. Now, how do we extend one carbon in a carboxylic acid? The carboxylic acid is treated with thionyl chloride to convert carboxylic acid to acid chloride. Then it is treated with diazomethane to generate the alpha diazoketone. That alpha diazoketone, upon treatment with a reagent, it will be converted to ketone, followed by, if we use water, it will be that ketene will be converted to carboxylic acid. So what is the final result? When a carboxylic acid is treated with thionyl chloride followed by diazomethane and a carbene generating reagent, then what we will have is one carbon homologation of carboxylic acid. Now we will see some of the mechanistic steps involved in these reactions. When it is treated with thionyl chloride, OH will attack on sulfur. Then this sulfur double bond oxygen will break down. Then again it will form, so that one of the chlorine, because chlorines are good leaving groups, so one of the chlorine will be leaving as Cl minus. That also takes this proton. So the product is Cl. And we have one proton loss from carboxylic acid, one Cl minus loss from thionyl chloride. Now this Cl minus will attack on carbonyl carbon. Then carbonyl bond is the one first will break. Then again it will form. Now this carbon oxygen bond will break down. It will be polarized towards sulfur, so it generates sulfur dioxide. Cl minus will be leaving. So here the product is RCOCl. So this is what acid chloride. This is how we generate acid chloride here. Minus sulfur dioxide is leaving. Again, one more Cl minus is leaving. And of course, you know how to convert acid chlorides to alpha diazoketones, right? Okay, I'll just repeat. Yesterday, I have given some examples based on acid chloride, conversion of acid chloride with diazomethane and reagent to one carbon homologation of carboxylic acids. Sorry for that. They are not examples of Wolff rearrangement. There are also examples of Arndt-Eister's reaction. Okay. So we have discussed three such examples. They are also example for Arndt-Eister reaction. Right. So I'll quickly give you how acid chlorides will be converted to diazoketones. So this is diazomethane, CH2N2, diazomethane. This negative charge now will attack on carbonyl. Carbonyl double bond will polarize towards oxygen, then it will back polarize to generate C double bond O. Then Cl minus will be leaving. So what we are having is RCO CH2 N2 plus. Now this Cl minus, which is leaving, will abstract one proton here. It will abstract one proton here. So it generates R C double bond O CH minus N2 plus. Or simply how we can write this? We can write this R CO CH N2 alpha diazo ketone. Alpha diazo ketone. Remaining mechanism I will discuss little later. So when this diazo ketone, the negative charge on carbon can be polarized towards a carbonyl. So first C double bond O will polarize towards oxygen, then again it will form. In that case, alkyl group, whatever it is there, it will migrate to diazo carbon, then N2 minus will be leaving. So it generates CH. Of course, we have double bond generated now, ketene. So this is how we are generating a ketene from carboxylic acid. Now this ketene, if it is treated with water, a carboxylic acid will be generated. Now where it will attack? Water first will attack on carbonyl carbon because carbonyl carbon is electropositive. Of course, C double bond will break down in the first instance, again it will form. Now this C double bond C will break down. So the product is R CH CO O H2. Because it is donating electron pair, it gets positive charge. Because it is gaining electrons, it gets negative charge. Now it will undergo a rearrangement. A proton loss from here, a proton gain from here on this carbon will generate the required one carbon homologation of carboxylic acid. Previously it was just RCOOH and finally we are getting RCH2 COOH. I'll just give some examples for on-diester synthesis. So carboxylic acids can be converted to acid chloride by treatment with the thionyl chloride. Then treatment with diazomethane will convert that into alpha diazo ketone. Alpha diazo ketones upon treatment with a carbene generating reagent, they'll generate carbene, then they will undergo rearrangement to give ketene. Ketenes, if they are treated with water, they will generate carboxylic acids. If they are treated with alcohol, they will generate esters. Because we are using methanol as the solvent, the product should be ester with just one carbon homologation. That means just increase one more carbon in this chain, then write COOMe. That's it. Carboxylic acids can also be converted to acid chlorides by treating with phosphorus reagents PCl3, PCl5 or PBr3, PBr5, something like that. Red phosphorus chlorine, red phosphorus bromine. Not only carboxylic acids, even alcohols also can be converted to halides, alkyl halides by treating with phosphorus reagents. Here we are generating carbene under photochemical conditions. Again, solvent is methanol, so we will get an ester. You can also convert acid carboxylic acids into acid chlorides by treating with oxalyl chloride. C double bond O Cl twice. Oxalic acid, oxalyl chloride. This is carbon generating reagent and we are using methanol. So in simple case, what is this? It is just on-diester synthesis with one carbon homologation. So what we expect for this, we do expect a simple one carbon homologation. Sorry, it should be below the plane. One carbon homologation of carboxylic acid, because we are using methanol, it should be ester. It should be ester. Of course, all other substituents will be as it is. But you see, when we are using oxalyl chloride or thionyl chloride, what we are getting? We are getting HCl as the byproduct. HCl as the byproduct. That means we are generating acidic conditions. When we generate acidic conditions, they may deprotect oxygen protection groups. Here it is O-benzyl. So in this case, it may deprotect O-benzyl. So this oxygen is free and it involves in intramolecular esterification reaction under acidic conditions. So here we are getting a byproduct also. Here we are getting a byproduct also. So it is simple deproduction of O-benzyl group to alcohol and then intramolecular esterification reaction. Here we are getting 22% of this product and it is around 33%. Okay, just look at this. It is one carbon homologation of on-diester synthesis, but at the same time, the generated acids may deprotect any oxygen protecting functional groups. So it is also possible to have deprotection of oxygen functional groups. And because we have a carboxylic acid in the molecule itself, so it undergoes intramolecular esterification reaction. Now we will see Hoffman, Curtius, Lawson rearrangements. These are similar to each other, so we will read them together so that we can easily understand the differences. When amides are treated with bromine and sodium hydroxide, it generates isocyanate that upon treatment with water will be converted to amine. So what we are doing decarboxylation. CH double bond O is lost, right? Amides can be converted to amine, amine via isocyanate. This is what is called Hoffman rearrangement. Hoffman rearrangement. Similarly, acid azides can be converted to isocyanates upon thermal treatment. This is acid azide. Of course, after this, the same story. This is called Curtius. Similarly, this is N-acyl hydroxamic acid. Acyl, N-acyl hydroxamic acid. This upon treatment with the base OH minus, it will be converted to isocyanate. This is called Lawson rearrangement. So Hoffman, Curtius and Lawson rearrangements involve isocyanate generation, and that can be converted to amine upon water treatment. Okay. Now we will see the mechanisms for one by one reactions. When amide is treated with sodium hydroxide and bromide, it will lead to N-alkylation. So sodium hydroxide will pick up a proton from nitrogen. It generates NH minus. Now this will undergo bromination. N minus will pick up a bromide ion. Sorry, one bromine. So R, CO, NH, and of course bromine. Now again, sodium hydroxide will pick up this proton. So we are generating a negative charge on nitrogen. This imide ion, because neutral form it is called amide, because we have one minus charge, it is called amide ion, will polarize towards C double bond O. Of course, C double bond O is the first one to break the bond, then again it will form. Now this alkyl group along with its bond pair will migrate to nitrogen because we have a good leaving group. Bromine is a good leaving group. So when negative charge and nitrogen is polarizing towards carbonyl, this alkyl group will migrate to nitrogen because we have a good leaving group on nitrogen. So what we are generating R is migrated to nitrogen. Nitrogen, there was a single bond previously. Now it is generating a double bond. Of course, C double bond O. This is called isocyanate with the loss of Br minus. With loss of Br minus. So this is the mechanism for Hoffman rearrangement. Now we will look at the mechanism for Curtius rearrangement. What is Curtius rearrangement? Acid azides, we can represent this like this, minus charge, or sorry, minus charge, or we can also represent this in this form. It's simple. When you polarize this negative charge towards this positively charged nitrogen, then this nitrogen double bond will break down, right? So this acid azide, upon thermal treatment, what will happen? Negative charge will be polarized towards carbonyl, then alkyl group will be migrated to nitrogen because we have a good leaving group, nitrogen gas, and this nitrogen atom, right? So again, what we are generating R nitrogen double bond C double bond O. We are generating isocyanate. This is the mechanism for Curtius. Now we will see the mechanism for Lawson rearrangement. Lawson rearrangement involves N-acyl hydroxamic acid. When it is treated under basic conditions, what happens? This base will pick up the proton from nitrogen. So it also generates a negatively charged nitrogen atom. So that is most important for conversion into isocyanate. So this negative charge will polarize towards carbonyl. then alkyl group will migrate to nitrogen because we have a good leaving group in terms of carboxylate ion. So this is converted to R N double bond, sorry, R double bond N double bond CO, isocyane. So this is how all these three mechanisms will convert the starting materials into isocyanates.